And welcome to the Jersey Barrier, and welcome to the start of our four-part holiday special for the month of December. It's that time of year again. We'll begin with I-95, also known as the Jersey Turnpike, through New Jersey, from where we ended with the Pennsylvania Turnpike a few weeks back, all the way up to New York City. So coming off the extension from the PA Turnpike, apparently the Google truck can't get a good pic of these signs. Not sure, but you'll see the cars and trucks split. And we're here on the 12-lane torture chamber. Doesn't look too bad now, but we're still ways from the worst part. And yeah, it only gets worse. Here in Bordentown, we get the exit for Bordentown, and Trenton. New York still as it should be the whole way, right? You would think. The only good part here about the Jersey Turnpike, we get the service areas, so exit for Trenton again, along with Woodrow Wilson service area. I mean, look at those things at the service area. That's like good options. Also, shore points. Nice. Still New York here. Good. And a nice little sign for Rutgers, so you would think that they would sign Piscataway. No. Thanks a lot, Jersey. You're gonna give me Rutgers on the sign, but not Piscataway. Real smart. Literally every other sign had two cities, but no, you're just gonna give me New Brunswick here. And not Piscataway? Come on. At least New York's up there. First exit here, related to New York. Get the Outer Bridge crossing to Staten Island for 287, as well as Metuchen and Perth Amboy on the sign up ahead. Interesting that we just dropped the control here, coming up on the GSP. Not sure why you need to say GSP as a control when the emblem is there. Yeah, it's starting to get bad. That's what it used to be a few years ago, so I will say the new sign is better than no emblems at all, but still not great. And here we are up in the wasteland, apparently. We get kind of a cross between the last two photos. We get through traffic, which is terrible, but it's just put New York up there. It's not that hard. It's like, you got the biggest city in the country, and you're not going to put it up there. Like, come on. Exit 13 is signed great, though. The bridges are just as good as controls for the New York boroughs, because that's how you get to them. Also, Elizabeth there, that's fine. But why? What? This is the same exit. You take away the bridges. Okay, Elizabeth stays, of course, in state. And you can't even spell out island? Staten is? Staten's what? Come on. Well, moving on. We get to an incredibly cool photo near Newark Airport. Only flown into Newark once, personally. And it was just okay. Another cool picture approaching the airport exit. And here is the airport exit, the second one, which is also for the Holland Tunnel to Manhattan. We get our first glimpse of the New York skyline right here, if you can see it over the rail yard to the right. A lot of industry. And the split of 78 East and West. Triple control on 78 East is great. 78 West, that's Newark Airport's fine. You could sign some other things, but that's okay. And Bayonne, Jersey City, Holland Tunnel in that order, I mean, that's pretty good. And this is where it gets real confusing. 80 West to the Lincoln Tunnel, right? Which is obviously east. We just saw New York to our right, so that's confusing. Why would I go 80 West to the Lincoln Tunnel? Like, that's the wrong direction. And it makes it worse that it's flipped on the truck lanes and the car lanes, which you can obviously see both signs at the same time. And since when we were on 280, we aren't. We're not close. It implies we're on 80 too. Nope, we are not even close to 80. Like, half an hour away from 80. So we'll come back to that in a minute. This is what it used to look like as recently as 2022, which is kind of insane for the way these signs look. But this is actually a much better sign. It only actually says we're on 95, which is true. We're just on 95 and the Jersey Turnpike. Everything else is 2 something, which is the newer sign. It doesn't even convey at all. I've driven or been a passenger on this part of the turnpike multiple times every year my entire life, and I got confused this past summer when I was paying too close attention to the signs. Crazy. I'll just stick to GPS next time. Thanks a lot, Jersey. Alright, so we'll take a look at this zoomed in aerial of where that sign is, and I'll attempt to explain what's going on real quick, although this segment of the turnpike could be a video in itself with all that's going on. The truck lane and car lane are merging into one here, where the west spur is on the left, east spur is on the right. They act like the right one, the one that is assigned to the GW, is faster, but in many cases it is not. And here's a zoomed out aerial. You can see where 95 splits and then comes back together. Right there. And there's coming back together. Here's the Lincoln Tunnel, and you have to take the eastern spur to get there, which is signed. Western spur is essential to get to Giant Stadium, as the old sign says, but not essential to get to the GW, which is up there. Makes you think that you have to take the western spur, but assuming no traffic, which is a big assumption, I know, the eastern spur is actually faster, so at different times of day it could change. So you can see the bridge is after they come back together. And we'll come back to the bridge though. And that's how you get to the bridge. So moving forward, we are met with some traffic. Can't even escape from it on Google Maps. And we get a nice view of the city from here. And the Meadowlands soon after. Alright, here on the western spur we can actually get to the Lincoln Tunnel too. So it really does not matter at all. I mean, it's going to save you marginal amounts of time either way, depending on the time of day. But this caucus exit here, probably for the sports complex as well, should probably be on the sign. That's kind of important. And we get to see a massive landfill right here. Just great. Everyone loves Jersey for its landfills. Except no one ever. And if you look to the left here, you can see MetLife Stadium, home of the Giants and Jets. And we do at least get Rutherford on the exit sign, although I think they do have attraction signs before it. I wasn't really looking for them, but I think they are there. But a great view of the Manhattan and Bronx here from just past the exit for Rutherford. There are definitely some good views in New York from the Turnpike, but that's the great thing about Jersey. Good views of other states. So here, we get a huge decision point. No turning back either way. The roads are finally separate and exclusive after this. And we're finally at 80. Like, all that I went through was between 95 and 80. So why is it on the sign there? And they come back together anyway. It's just unnecessary. Like, it's just making it way too confusing. So, like, they acted like it was all or nothing in Newark, but you could get literally anywhere, no matter which way you went. So, yeah. We're finally alone on 95 here after 80 splits, with nothing else to come, really, past all the major junctions. You have to stay on 95 to get to the bridge, right? As the sign would tell you. You would be wrong. Here's a little experiment that tells you Route 46 is actually quite less distance and takes the same amount of time. Once again, Parkway or the Turnpike Authority acting like you don't have a choice when you actually definitely do have one, and 95 probably not the better one. Alright, well, probably if you were smart you'd take 46, but we're going to assume we listen to the signs and have to stay on 95 for the bridge. We are now parallel to 80, as you can see over here, Patterson and Hackensack. We get the first sign for the lower and upper level split, which is more important if you're driving the semi-truck, not really important if you're driving a car, but anyway, we are still getting a few exits here, as you can see, T-neck up there. And this has got to be fake. No way I have ever gone across the GW in 5 minutes. That's insane. I would love to see that. And here we get the final decision point of upper or lower, with Palisades Parkway exit in the mix as well. So there's a lot going on here for sure. And now this is more like it. This is the Jersey I'm used to. Some guy just standing in the middle of the road too. Like, yeah. Gotta love and hate it. Pretty important sign here. Usually New Englanders are not taken this way at peak hours, unless lower Connecticut, I guess. 287 to the Tappan Zee, or now Cuomo, is typically faster, or at least less stressful for sure. And some control regions up here, I guess, probably one of a kind. New England and Long Island. It's kind of cool, but they're definitely not cities. And here is the toll for the bridge, 16 bucks. Port Authority is definitely raking it in with how many people go over this each day. Just insane to think about. And we have gotten on the GW. Looks pretty nice from here. And the view of the Hudson and New York looking south is pretty great as well. I mean, yeah, we're still in New Jersey, like barely. And we are now across and in New York State. No control on 95 right now, but I understand there's a lot going on. And now we do get 95 for the Cross Bronx, initially, as we are making our way through the bridge infrastructure, as you can see here. And 87 splits off here into the Major Deegan. We're definitely in New York City, while 95 loses its control. But again, there's a lot going on. Just staying straight is the primary objective for 95. And on the Alexander Hamilton Bridge, we get the Cross Bronx and New Haven, Connecticut, which is pretty cool to see. And now we're going to turn around. Just wanted to show a little bit of crossing to New York, how the view is getting off the GW. Alright, on the Alexander Hamilton Bridge the other way, we get the bridge and Newark. Interesting. Right after the bridge in New Jersey, no controls, but fair, honestly. Look at the amount of symbols and shields up there. Now we get 95 south for Patterson and 80 for Hackensack. What? I mean, Hackensack's fine, but Patterson for 95, like that's 80's control. We saw that on northbound, like they used it for 80. It should be Newark at this point, at least. Maybe Philly, but I'm gonna let Jersey stay with Newark. And there's Newark. Patterson just wanted to be 80 control anyway. Like, I don't know why they were trying to pretend it was 95s. And we're entering the Turnpike, as the bridge toll is not the New Jersey Turnpike. It's Combined Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. And here's our split into the spurs again. This time it's much more clear, although both do go to Trenton. Wait, Trenton? Why is Trenton up there? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Jersey. Trenton? You gotta be kidding me. We'll come back to that. No pull through. You give me Trenton there, and then nothing at the 78 split. Like, come on. They're really scared of putting Philly on the sign, apparently. Now going south, we are in Newark or Elizabeth. I don't even know anymore. And here's the Newark Airport. And once again, no pull through here, as we are getting similar signs of the northbound Elizabeth Staten Island. This is better than the northbound Staten is. I don't know what Staten is. Now we do get a pull through. Trenton again. You gotta be kidding me with this. Philly is staring you straight in the face, and you're still gonna sign Trenton here. Philly is, oh my gosh. Like, this is bad. Okay, Trenton, bad once again, but have to flame this exit real quick again. Metuchen is literally the first town. It has 15,000 people. Piscataway has 61,000 right down the road. And Rutgers. How is Piscataway not signed either way? We saw it northbound. They signed New Brunswick. And now they're going to sign Metuchen. Yeah, it's mind-boggling how bad some of these are. And of course Trenton. We're even closer to Philly now, like, there's no excuse. What?! You have got to be kidding me with this. Trenton was bad, but Camden? It has to be a joke at this point. Has to be. Has to be. Well, this was in 2021. It has since been updated to Philly, but it is concerning, so concerning, that Camden was ever signed or even considered over Philly. Just insane that Camden, which is definitely a Philly suburb, if you can even call it a Philly suburb, it's like a part of Philly. It's insane. They're going to sign Philadelphia just one exit before. And we get our final exit of 95, as 95 will continue into Pennsylvania, into Philadelphia, as the Turnpike does continue separate down to Delaware. This picture is from last June with the Canada fire haze and all that, but decent controls on the exit, I suppose. Turnpike, not really control, could give us Levittown or something. But anyways, what was signed? Northbound? Great. When they actually put a sign, it was always New York. Once they got towards the bridge, that's fine. And then the NYC dot signs New Haven, Connecticut. Southbound, terrible, as we saw there. NYC dot signs Newark, but then the Turnpike Authority decides it should be Patterson, for no reason. Then switches back to Newark, then Trenton before Newark, and then keeps Trenton all the way to Trenton, and then switches to Camden. Thankfully, they have realized how dumb Camden was over Philly, but Philly should absolutely be signed from Newark, if not before Newark. So, what would I do? Northbound, I agree with New York, obviously, but they could throw up Newark if they wanted to for the first part, because Newark is plenty big enough. Then the GW with the Bronx as a secondary, as that's where you enter the city, and or at least pretty close to the Bronx. Then I do like New Haven, as it's long range at that key split. But I would bring a secondary just a tad closer with Stamford. Stamford's pretty big as well, so I wouldn't mind that as well. Just New Haven, that's a pretty cool sign either way in the city. Southbound, it can be really simple. Keep your precious Patterson. It can be a secondary for the first, I don't know, like 3 miles. And then your precious Trenton can be a secondary to Philly. Camden actually never deserves to be on a sign at all, as it's really not that big at all, and the Turnpike doesn't go particularly close to it at all. Even when it continues south towards Delaware, Wilmington and Deptford should be the controls for the southbound Turnpike. Southbound 95 should continue to be Philly, obviously, but it switches to be PennDOT's problem when it splits out that exit 6. So yeah, a lot of bad signage here on a very important road in the United States. But thank you for watching episode 1 of the holiday special, and we will see you next week with episode 2. Alright.